Welcome to the deep dive. We take one source and really kind of unpack it. Today we're looking at this article, How to Lead Agile Transformation.
From growthwithin.com.
Yes. And it's all about helping organizations, really make it in this crazy business world that's constantly changing.
Yeah, it's a cool piece.
Mhm.
Really gets into, what it takes to make an organization truly agile.
Yeah, and I like how practical it is.
Yeah,
It's not just theory.
right.
It actually gives you strategies to use.
Totally.
So are you ready to learn how your company can adapt to anything and maybe even beat the competition?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's dive in.
One of the first things the article does is it addresses that misconception that agile is like a buzzword or a quick fix.
Right.
But it really emphasizes that to be agile takes a much deeper change.
Like a total transformation.
Yeah.
It changes everything.
Absolutely.
Processes, culture,
Yeah.
the way people think.
It impacts everything.
So you can't just get new project management software. You have to change the DNA of the organization.
You got it.
Wow.
The article uses this analogy of a company being like a ship.
Okay.
And traditional organizations are like those big ocean liners.
Okay.
Takes forever to turn them around.
Right.
Not very good in rough seas.
So agile organizations would be
Speedboats.
yeah,
Huh?
super nimble, can change direction really fast.
Exactly. They can adapt to the market changing, and they can respond to feedback right away.
And they can anticipate what's coming next.
Exactly.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we take this big, slow ship and turn it into a speedboat? What does the article say?
Well, first we got to understand what an agile organization looks like.
Okay.
And it lays out some key characteristics.
Okay.
Like having a flat hierarchy, empowering teams to make choices, and creating a culture of collaboration and continuous learning.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But did they give any real-world examples of companies that have done this? To prove it's actually possible?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Spotify is a great example.
Yeah.
They've really embraced this idea of autonomous cross-functional teams.
Okay.
They're always iterating on their product,
Mm-hmm.
responding to users really quickly.
Okay.
And that's a big reason why they've stayed ahead of the curve, in a really tough industry.
Yeah, Spotify is a great example. Everyone knows Spotify.
Yeah.
They're killing it. Okay, so we've got a good idea of what an agile organization looks like.
Right.
But how do we actually get there?
Right.
What does that transformation actually look like?
It's a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
And they break it down into 4 stages.
Okay.
Assess, design, implement, and sustain.
Okay. Let's unpack that.
Okay.
So assess, what does that mean?
It means you take a real hard look at where your organization is at right now.
Okay.
You assess your current processes, your culture, your tech, and figure out what needs to change to be more agile.
It's like taking inventory.
Yeah.
Before you go on a trip.
Exactly. And the article gives some really helpful tools to do that.
Cool.
Like using a maturity model to see how agile you already are.
Maturity model.
Yeah.
Okay, what's that?
It's basically a way to measure how far along you are on your agile journey.
Okay.
There are different models, but they usually look at things like how committed your leaders are,
Mhm.
your team structure,
Okay.
how you're using agile practices already.
So you use the model to see where you're at.
Yeah,
And then you see how far you have to go to get where you want to be.
exactly.
Interesting.
And that takes us to the next stage, design.
Okay, so we've assessed where we are now. We're
Right.
designing.
Right.
Designing what?
You're designing the roadmap for your agile transformation.
Okay.
You define your vision, your goals, and the specific changes you need to make.
So it's like drawing up the blueprints for our speedboat.
Exactly. And the article says it's super important to get everyone on board with the plan,
Okay.
especially the leadership.
I can see how that would be important.
Oh, yeah.
If the people at the top aren't into it, it's probably not going to happen.
Absolutely. The article has a whole section on the role of leadership in this
Huh?
and how important it is to be a champion for change,
Okay.
to empower teams, and to create a culture of learning.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've assessed the current state. We've
Right.
designed the roadmap. Now what?
Now we got to put the plan into action.
Yeah.
That's the implement stage.
This is where the rubber hits the road.
Right.
We're making changes.
Exactly. And the article gives some really practical advice on how to do this.
Like what?
Start small
Okay.
with pilot projects.
Okay.
Create cross-functional teams.
Mm-hmm.
Adopt methodologies like Scrum or Kanban.
Right.
Invest in training and coaching to build agile capabilities.
So we're not trying to do everything at once.
Yeah.
It's more like a step-by-step approach.
Exactly. And the article says to stay flexible during this phase because things are going to change.
Right.
You got to be able to adjust.
You always got to adjust.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've assessed, we've designed, we've implemented.
Yeah.
What's the last stage?
Okay. This is where you focus on making those agile principles part of how your organization works every day.
So we're not just making changes, we're making them stick.
Exactly.
Wow.
The article talks about continuous improvement, coaching, mentoring, and celebrating your wins.
So Agile isn't just a project, it's the way you do business.
That's it.
And that's how you create sustainable agility.
Right.
Okay, we've covered a lot here.
We have.
From assessing where we're at to making Agile part of the culture.
Totally.
But I feel like there's even more to this.
Oh, yeah, we've just scratched the surface.
Let's dig into some more of those specific strategies and tips that the article gives.
Let's do it. You know, one thing that really stood out to me in this article was how much it focused on the human side of things.
Yeah, it's not just about, systems and processes.
Right. It's about people.
It is all about people.
Yeah. And the article talks about, how important it is to address people's fears about this kind of change.
Yeah, people don't always like change.
No.
Especially when it comes to their jobs.
Right. So the article says communication is key.
Okay.
You got to be transparent with everyone about why you're doing this, what the benefits will be, and how their jobs might change.
So be upfront and honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even if it means saying, hey, there might be some bumps along the way.
Right.
But it can't just be a one-way conversation.
No, you got to listen to people.
You got to listen to them.
Get their input.
Exactly.
I think when people feel like they're part of the process, they're more likely to go along with it.
They are.
It's like they have some ownership over it.
Totally. And, the article also talks about celebrating successes along the way.
I love that.
Yeah, like giving recognition to teams who are making progress.
Oh, wins.
Yeah, those little wins help build momentum.
And keep people excited.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get back to some of those specifics about how to lead this transformation.
Okay.
The article talked about 10 key factors for success.
It did.
Were there any that you were like, oh yeah, that's a good one?
Yeah. The one that really stood out to me was starting with a clear vision.
Yeah, you got to know where you're going
You do.
before you can figure out how to get there.
Exactly. And the article says that vision has to be more than just some vague statement about being more agile.
Yeah, like we want to be agile.
Right. It needs to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay, so a clear destination and a timeline.
Yeah.
Okay, what else did they say about vision?
Well, they also said that vision needs to be aligned with the organization's overall strategy and goals.
Oh, so it's not just about being agile to be agile.
Right.
It's about how being agile helps you achieve those bigger goals.
Exactly. Agile transformation isn't the goal itself. It's a tool to reach your goals.
Okay, so clear vision, check.
Wait.
What's next?
The next one is strong leadership commitment.
Yeah, if the leaders aren't behind this, it's probably not going to work.
Probably not, no.
It's like they say, culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Yeah, and the article says leaders can't just be cheerleaders for Agile.
Right? They got to actually be involved.
You gotta be in the game.
So walk the walk.
Walk the walk, yeah.
Not just talk the talk.
Exactly. So things like modeling agile behaviors,
Okay.
empowering their teams to make decisions, and getting rid of roadblocks.
So they're not just saying do agile, they're actually doing it themselves.
Exactly.
And they're helping other people do it too.
Right. And they have to be okay with not having all the answers.
That's a good point.
Yeah, because Agile's all about, figuring things out as you go.
It embraces uncertainty,
It does.
which can be hard for people who are used to being in control.
Right. But the article says that kind of leadership is what makes Agile work.
Okay, strong leadership, check.
Right.
What else is there?
This one's a big one, fostering a culture of change.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because Agile isn't just about doing a new process.
Right.
It's about a whole new way of working.
A whole new way of thinking.
Yeah, changing how the organization works at a fundamental level.
Exactly. And that can be really tough.
Yeah, people don't always like that.
No, they don't.
So how do we do it? You can't just tell people to change and expect them to.
Right. It takes time.
Yeah.
The article says you got to create a safe space for experimentation.
Okay.
Where people feel like it's okay to try new things.
Yeah, and if they make a mistake, it's not the end of the world.
Right. It's a chance to learn.
It's a learning opportunity.
Exactly. And the article also talks about being transparent and communicating openly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
People need to understand why things are changing
Yeah.
and how it will affect them.
They need to feel like they have a voice.
Okay, so culture of change, check.
Check.
What else?
Building an agile mindset.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's about getting people to think differently about work.
Okay.
It's about embracing collaboration, iteration, and continuous learning.
It's not just following the steps.
Right.
It's about really understanding the principles behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the article gives some good tips on how to do this.
Like,
Well, for one, it talks about providing training and coaching.
yeah. People need to learn how to do this stuff.
Right. They need the skills.
Okay.
And it also talks about giving people chances to actually try out agile methods.
Learn by doing.
Learn by doing.
Not just reading about it in a book.
Exactly. And create a culture where it's okay to ask questions, share ideas,
Okay.
and even challenge the way things are done.
I like it. Building an agile mindset. Check.
Check.
Prioritizing effective communication.
That's important for any organization,
It is.
but especially for agile teams.
Yeah, because things change so fast.
So exactly.
And teams have to be able to keep up.
So it's not just about communicating more, it's about communicating better.
Exactly. And the article talks about using the right tools and techniques.
What kind of tools?
Well, one example is daily stand-up meetings,
Okay.
where the team gets together for a few minutes each day. Everyone shares what they're working on, what their plan is for the day, and if they're stuck on anything. Oh, I like that keeps everyone in the loop.
Yeah, and it builds trust and transparency.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, effective communication. Check. What else?
Investing in coaching and training.
Yeah, sometimes we assume people can just figure this stuff out on their own.
Right, but Agile is a whole new way of working for a lot of people.
Right. It's a new skill set.
So it's important to give them the support they need.
What kind of training are we talking about?
It could be anything from the basics of Agile to more advanced stuff on specific methods like Scrum or Kanban.
So make sure everyone's got a good foundation.
Exactly. And coaching is about providing ongoing support.
So like a mentor.
Yeah, a mentor to help you work through those challenges.
Cool.
The article says coaching should be tailored to what your organization needs.
Okay. Coaching and training. Check.
Yes.
What's next?
Tailoring Agile methodologies.
Ah, so it's not one size fits all.
No, not at all. There are lots of different Agile frameworks and methods out there.
So you got to find the one that works for you. Not just jump on the latest trend.
Right. The article gives a good overview of some of the most popular ones, like Scrum, Kanban, Lean.
And it talks about the pros and cons of each.
It does.
That's really helpful because I think it can be kind of overwhelming.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To figure out where to start.
Right. And the article says don't be afraid to experiment and try different things.
Yeah. Find what works for you.
Exactly.
Okay. Tailoring methodologies. Check.
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 Iterating.
Okay.
Starting with pilot projects.
So start small.
Yeah. Start small and then scale up.
Don't try to do too much at once.
Exactly. Pick a small team or a small project. Try out your Agile approach. See what works. See what doesn't.
Makes sense.
And then you can gradually expand from there.
I like that because that feels a lot more manageable.
It is. And it also helps build momentum.
Yeah.
When people see early successes.
Right. It's contagious.
Exactly.
Okay. Pilot projects. Check. What's next?
Building and empowering Agile teams.
Okay. So it's not just about individuals being agile.
Right.
It's about creating teams that can work in an agile way.
Exactly.
What does that look like?
Well, Agile teams are usually pretty small. They have people from different areas, and they can make decisions on their own.
So they're not waiting for someone higher up to tell them what to do.
Right. And the article says that can be a big change for some organizations.
Yeah, some organizations are very hierarchical.
They are. And it can be tough to let go of that control.
But it sounds like it's really important.
It is.
For making Agile work.
It is. Yeah, those empowered teams are more engaged, more productive, and they come up with better ideas.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, empowering Agile teams. Check.
Check.
What's the last one?
Ensuring transparency and adaptability.
So everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
And able to change direction quickly when they need to.
Exactly. Transparency means open communication, shared goals.
Okay.
Knowing where things stand.
Yeah.
And adaptability means being ready to change course.
When things change.
And things change.
Which happens all the time.
All the time.
So you got to roll with the punches.
You do.
Okay. Transparency and adaptability check.
Okay.
Wow. We really went through those 10 key factors.
We did.
That's a lot to think about.
It is.
But I want to go back to something you said earlier.
Okay.
About the human element of Agile transformation. I think that's really important.
It's crucial.
Because Agile isn't just about the process.
Right.
It's about the people.
It is about creating a workplace where people feel valued and empowered.
Yeah, and inspired to do their best work.
Exactly.
I think that's a great point to transition into some of the more subtle aspects of Agile transformation.
Okay.
That this article talks about.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been talking about this Agile transformation article, and I'm really impressed with how it brings together, practical advice with a deeper look at what actually makes this kind of change work.
Yeah, it's not just telling you what to do. It's explaining the thinking behind it.
Exactly. And one thing I found really interesting was the part about how Agile can actually help organizations be more creative.
Yeah, that's something people don't always think about.
Right. They think about efficiency and speed.
Which are important.
Yeah, of course.
But this article says Agile can also make it easier for new ideas to come out.
So how does it do that?
Well, one way is that Agile focuses on collaboration. Working together across different teams.
So you get people with different perspectives.
Exactly.
All working together.
And that leads to more and better ideas.
Two heads are better than one.
Exactly. And when you add in that Agile way of experimenting and iterating, you create an environment where it's okay to try new things.
Yeah, you can fail fast.
Fail fast.
And learn from those mistakes.
Exactly, because a lot of times people are afraid to fail.
Right, and that stops them from being creative.
It does.
But with Agile, you see failure as a chance to learn, not as something bad.
Exactly, and the article gives some cool examples of companies that have used Agile to be more innovative, like Google, their 20% time policy.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Where they let their employees spend 20% of their time working on whatever they want.
And that's how they came up with some of their biggest hits, right?
Exactly, like Gmail and Google Maps.
It's amazing what can happen when you give people the space to be creative.
It is.
So we've talked about how Agile can boost creativity, but the article also talks about some of the challenges of making this change.
Yeah.
Were there any that stood out to you?
Well, one that I think is really common is resistance to change.
Oh, yeah. People don't like change.
They get comfortable with the way things are.
Even if it's not working that well.
Even if it's not working that well.
So how do we get past that?
It comes back to communication. And leadership.
Right.
Leaders need to explain why the organization is changing, what the benefits will be, and how it will affect people's jobs.
So paint a picture of what the future looks like.
Exactly. Show people what's in it for them.
Right. And help them see that things need to change.
Yeah. Make it clear that we can't just keep doing things the same way.
Because if people don't think things need to change, they're not going to be that excited about it.
Exactly. And the article also says it's important to be honest about the challenges.
So don't pretend it's going to be easy.
Don't pretend it's going to be easy now.
Tell people it might be tough, but we're here to support you.
Right.
Provide training, coaching, create opportunities for feedback so people feel heard,
supported,
valued. That's how you get people to trust the process and buy into it.
Exactly.
This has been a really great deep dive.
It has.
Into the world of Agile transformation. I feel like we've really gotten a good understanding of what it takes to make this work.
Yeah, and the best part is that this article gives a roadmap. Not just for leaders, but for anyone who wants to be part of building a more agile organization.
I love that it's a call to action for all of us.
It is.
To embrace these ideas of agility.
Yeah, to be more adaptable, more collaborative, more customer-focused.
If you're ready to do that, head over to growth-within.com.
They've got tons of articles and resources
to help you on your Agile journey.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep embracing the power of Agile.